Hello and welcome to episode 53 of my informative playthrough of Pathfinder Kingmaker. And this is actually a re-record, so if you notice any discrepancies between this episode and the next one, it's basically because I recorded this episode and forgot to have my audio active. So thank you to the viewer who pointed that out to me. A bit embarrassing on my part, but fortunately I make a hard save after each recorded video, so I was able to go back and redo this. So we finally made it to Sorrowflow to meet up with Kanerah and Kaliki, or one or the other. And this is a difficult area because you might want to come here as soon as you start chapter 2, but at say level 5, getting here is very difficult because of the risk of really quite serious ambushes, which will probably mean you need to save and reload to get through the area without getting hit by a really high level manticore or just generally really tough ambushes. And secondly, this area itself is pretty tough because we do this with just our main character and one of the twins, and if you're not prepared for that, it can be a really, really tough area, but we'll see that as we go through. Now, we find Kaliki here. She's tense as a bowstring, and she's with 3 others, all of whom, you should be able to kind of see the tails wagging, are tieflings. And yes, and there's a what I kind of see as a discrepancy here, because they say to Kaliki. And I think Kanerah used to say that you don't know how to make connections. And they say this to Elder, who I've always assumed is one of the tieflings. And yet, later on in this dialogue, Kaliki here says that she hasn't told them about this. And because of the curse of Nethys, they can't know. She's explicitly forbidden from telling everyone. But I don't then understand why they refer to Kanerah here when they're as someone separate to Kaliki. But yes, anyway, but maybe I've just missed something. Maybe I've forgotten something here. Anyway, she's here with these 3 tieflings. Who knows how they got here? Because it's a very tough journey. And yes, sweet teeth. That's enough. You're going back to the city. So yeah, she sends them off, and the whole purpose of being here is just to remind the listener, we are here to find a Taldan relic, i.e. from the ancient or the old empire of Taldor. If we're located here in the Stolen Lands, then Galt is sort of below us, and then Taldor is below, and it's below that, and it's sort of, I guess, decaying empire. So imagine Byzantine Rome or something like that. Like that's the idea, even if it isn't like explicitly modelled on that. They don't wear Roman Empire stuff, but they had these expeditionary armies which came far north and all across this continent. Anyway, we're going there alone, or alone with Kaliki, and yes, they are apparently going to hoof it all the way back to the city, which is a long way away. It's very dangerous. Anyway, Kaliki, what is this place and what are we looking for here? So, ancient Taldan settlement, and they mined ore here, and there was a terrible flood, and we'll see a bit more info about this flood in a little bit. And basically, we're looking for this Nethisian relic, from a Kadarian temple, which is this disc of the Eclipse, and we don't know much about it at this point. Anyway, off you go, companions, including Melly wearing that ridiculous pyramidal hat. So, yes, who were those 3 tieflings? And they are the sweet teeth. They like sweet things. And, yeah. They found out about their site, and they let them know. But they say there's lots of dangerous beasts ahead. So isn't that great that we've sent away all our companions? The reason we have to send away our companions, I'm kind of assuming, because I can't remember anything that explicitly mentions it, is that Kaliki here has shared her secret about how her and Kanerah sort of swap over, and how the Herald of Nethys forbid her from mentioning this. And so we've had to send away everyone else so she can talk truthfully about it, since she's broken that agreement not to tell anyone, but she doesn't want to break it further. And yes. So here's what's confusing. The Sweet Teeth know nothing about what happened after our escape. They think Kanerah died, and I adopted a strange new name to hide from my past. So maybe that explains it. I really struggle to keep track of what different lies they've told to everyone. But yes, but they know me and my sister well and could easily uncover the truth. That would be a breach of Nethys' first condition. That's why it would be better for all of us if we met as rarely as possible. Besides, Kanerah nearly fed this poor Sweet Teeth to wild animals, though it seems like ages ago. Okay, this is reminding me of the story. So obviously they knew both Kanerah and Kaliki before their terrible accident, which resulted in them having this sort of strange swapping existence. Anyway, what's our plan? And we're gonna scale a cliff and gain 90 XP. Anyway, there we go. So we get to level her up to our level, and I'll say first of all, yes, we get to see this tower, and we see something strange here, and you can just sort of see peeking out. Barely. No, you can't see them anymore. But basically there's fires and a circle. So we get to level up Kaliki here. We can have a little look. She's a kineticist, plain kineticist, naturally high dex and constitution, as you'd kind of expect. And she is a water-based kineticist. Now, I'm not going to say that I know anything about kineticists. In fact, I'm going to say the exact opposite. I am not a kineticist player. I've never played kineticist very much, either in this game or in Wrath of the Righteous, and I find them a bit mystifying. And so my leveling up of Kaliki here is not a recommended build for her. It's not. I wouldn't even recommend it to the viewer. I would simply say, this is what I do in order to make completing this particular area as easy as possible at our current level, i.e. at level 8. So I can do certain things here that will make getting through this area quite easy, even for Alice here, who is not really equipped for doing any sort of actual damage to anyone. Is our support sorceress. So yes, so I'm not a kineticist player, but we can sort of see that we get infusions, we get wild talents, we get kinetic blast that upgrades. The kineticist is a blaster, which does, increasing damage every other level, and we've got some these infusions here, so we can do damage on her, as she is to be built into a popular online build for Kaliki, which will say, give her, which will take her down a tripping, deadly earth, bowling infusion route, which is incredibly powerful, but that's not going to help us get through this area here. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to level her up in the easiest possible way to deal with what we're going to face here. So let's just go ahead. So at 6th level, you don't get many skill points because we don't have, because we're a kineticist, got modest intelligence. And she does double relatively well as a healer, because she's got, where are we? She's already taken kinetic healer, being a water kineticist. So I'm just going to go straight into these. This is kinetic restoration. So you can restore your stats if you want. And again, next level here. This is if I remember rightly. This is the level where we get our second, what do you call it? Second blast. I'm going to take weapon focus kinetic blast there, just to increase our chance to hit. So yeah, for notable builds, the idea is that you take Earth. However, if we take Earth, we are really going to struggle to hit anything. And that's fine if you're playing a melee or range damage focused main character, but our character is neither. And if we take Earth here, unless I'm missing something completely, we will really struggle to overcome enemy armor class. So instead, I'm just going to double down and take water, which means we can take cold blast. And this is an energy blast, which targets touch AC, meaning I can just breeze through this stuff, making my life easy, and this video not a reload fest. Just go kineticist again. We'll stick it in Constitution so we get more burn, same as normal for the skills here. And we'll take healing burst just because I've decided to do all the healing stuff. And yeah, there we go. So that's it. So the main reason for doing that is we get this cold blast, which targets it's blast type energy, which means it targets touch AC, as opposed to water blast here, which is a physical blast, which thus targets it doesn't target touch AC, it targets regular AC, making life a little bit tricky. We can just have a look. All she's got is change it and a light crossbow, which we will immediately remove. There we go. There's no need for that. And I don't want to trigger them, but we've got these ferocious slurks, and we can't really inspect because we don't have any points in either law nature or whichever particular skill is required here. Also, I haven't rested, so yeah, that's another slight pain, but fortunately that's not a big issue here with the way I've taken this. So all we want to do is
taste my fury. I don't tolerate threats.
And even though we missed, it's a critical miss, and we are rolling against touch AC rather than regular AC.
You knave.
And if we hit a critical hit there with a crossbow, rolling really high anyway, that'll also help out. We also get slowed. Basically, it just feels mean to have all these enemies here with an area that if you've bought the DLC, you'll kind of want to visit straight away. So, yeah. Okay, one.
Stand down.
See, even when we are targeting touch AC, we're still targeting 16 AC with, in fact, you should not be using that because you can't hit side of a barn like that.
Taste my fury.
Okay, there we go. So, yeah, you can imagine that if you were using physical blasts, you're rolling at AC 21 or something ridiculous. Like, you just
Dangers don't frighten me.
in for an absolute nightmare. And we're kind of low on mirror images, and that was a really bad roll there.
No time for idling. This is going to hurt.
So let's see whether we can just
You
deal
offend
here.
me. Come at me, I dare you.
That's very nice. So the slurks are... they're an issue, but they're not too much of an issue like this. And we can
Adventures are exciting.
cast confusion up here, so we can have a nice,
Let's make this
you know,
quick.
few free shots.
Cool it.
Oh, and I didn't exactly want to waste all of them.
Your time is over.
We just hope that we can deal with them before they start hitting us. There we go.
Taste my fury.
I always think this is remarkable sometimes how many natural 20s you roll, but that's the idea of random dice. Most people seem to complain about not rolling good stuff. I'm complaining about rolling really high too often, which, yeah. Anyway, we have this circle of medium water elementals here, and if we go into it, we can find out a little bit more. So, yes. Kaliki is obviously commanding their attention as a water kineticist, one would imagine. This is what I felt. These creatures, we belong to the same elemental force. And I suppose this is another reason, a thematic reason for not going down the Earth route. That maybe you want to keep Kaliki as close to elemental congruence as possible, i.e., keep her cold focused in the same way that you might keep Kanerah fire focused. Anyway, that's yes. So we can examine them, and yes, they're bound via a magical trap, and a little bit of inference here that settlement that died in a sudden flood, and here we found some trapped water elementals. And yes, who on earth might have used these water elementals to kill the Taldans and destroy this settlement? We don't really know. And what'll happen if we set them free? Yeah. Anyway, she's implying that will be a good thing. Let's see what we can do. So, we can release them by putting out these fires around. It's just regular stuff. We don't want that buckler, but we'll take the other stuff. So yeah, we can free them by putting out the flames, which we do just by water blasting the fires. Use hotkeys as well. Ooh, right. Smart. And the last one, there. And yes, who knows how long they've been trapped here, because this settlement must have been destroyed a long time ago. And yeah, they're quite thankful. But they also indicate that there's danger ahead, and it's one of the ironic things about this whole area is that the last thing you fight is the least dangerous in the whole area. But yeah, anyway, we can summon them to help should we wish, which we do. And yes, they rush away to freedom. And we get to see them disappear into the water, and they've only got one animation here, and it's their death animation. So yeah, sorry guys.
I'll share my path.
This is the cliff that Kaliki recommended we climb up, and we can in fact make this quite a lot more likely to happen via an athletics check. I just want to make sure we're not. There we go. So yeah, we can use rope to go up, which means this is almost guaranteed. Or we can go for the higher XP reward there, but let's just use the rope since we brought it along. And yeah, roll of 5. It's quite nice. She climbs the cliff with the dexterity of a lizard. Well, okay. It says something quite weird here. What's it? Or perhaps naive. Now I see why the Taldans decided to settle here. I'd live here too. And considering we've been talking about how this was a mining settlement, and considering how we've got a collapsed mine here, the remains of a Taldan at it, one might think that the reason they settled here was because of the mining, not because of the nice view. This here requires a perception check, but there's an entrance in there we can go, but we weren't going to go in there anyway, because we can return to this area with our full party and trivialize the content, which I always quite like.
This is my time to shine.
But we've also got Gargoyle, right? And these are pretty tough, these gargoyles. Level 5, so, you know, for just 2 people, it's quite risky. Except, we should, unless we critically miss, be able to use this Ice Blast, 20 to 60 damage, to one-shot them. So let's see.
Enjoy your final moments.
Or not. Right. And the reason for that is I didn't have... I deactivated Deadly Aim. And also I think we rolled pretty low. Like 4d6 plus 11. To do 17 if you're doing 4d6 plus 11 is pretty low. And 18, that's almost lowest possible rolls. So what we'll do is we'll just try and blast it away. You can run away. And what I need you to do is deal with that one.
Is going to hurt.
And a critical hit. And that one's that. See, this is what I was expecting. 22 to 23 sort of stuff. But if you want to roll 2 almost minimal value rolls, just go right ahead. Anyway, that's that, and the Slurks is the hardest fight here. And you can kind of see that even at level 9, sure, I wasn't putting lots of effort in there. These fights would be really quite difficult at level 5, which is why I delay as much as possible. If you delay too much, it interferes with a quest line. So you want to do it as soon as feasibly possible, depending on what your approach to reloading is. So we're looking at this tower here. It's destroyed, and I'm afraid. So, yes. Frightening gargoyle is sitting among them in these ruins. Is it even a gargoyle? The jewels of the monsters that's gathered in its nest glimmering here and there. I never understand why, if it's a gargoyle, its nest is, you know, on the ground in some little ruins next to the water, rather than, say, up this way. But perhaps it's because it's a Gargoyle-like Treant. So it's tree-like. Yeah. Anyway, we can see something shifting here, and that's our Disc of the Eclipse there, and you can see Neithis' symbol. One side black, one side white, and like alternating, so white, black, black, white, black, white, and glowing. So yeah, there it is. It glistens white like incandescent metal, but a moment later is covered by abysmal blackness. Whoops, I skipped an extra one there. Nothing's going right in this video, but yeah, anyway, Kaliki swaps for Kanerah, and just spontaneously, and we can just interrupt here. There's no need for the charade. Your sister told me the truth. And yes, you see a glimmer of fear in the girl's almond-shaped eyes, but she quickly gathers herself. And yes, from the beginning, I thought the Herald of Neithis was joking with us, making us promise to keep everything a secret, while forcing us to switch spontaneously with no warning at any moment. I wonder if we will be punished for our failure. Well, what good is it to worry about something you can't change? I'm already living a borrowed life beyond my time. And yes, this is the harking back to our meeting during the coronation, or baronification. But she wants to know how we got here. And yeah, the answer is, your sister asked me to find an artifact. You can, this is romance route related, this first one, but since we're not pursuing that, we're going to pick the second option. And yes, an artifact. It doesn't have to be the Disc of the Eclipse, does it? Of course, it was I who first told you about it, but I imagined us sitting cozy by the fire in your castle, while your servants went off to collect it. And it seems our treasure has been stolen by that ugly gargoyle. So, we get this option here. We freed the water elementals who seem friendly. They will help us defeat the gargoyle. Because obviously, because we freed them, and thus we can use them in this battle. Now it's not like I said, this is pretty much the easiest battle here, but we'll get the water elementals to help as well. And Kanerah being lawful evil, the exact opposite of her chaotic good sister. Sorry, she provides us with this lawful evil option that we just let the elementals get on with it. But Alice is neutral good, leaning towards chaotic good, and so we're not going to abandon them. We're going to fight alongside them. So yes, we risk our lives for animated puddles. So once we regain control here. So it will attack the water elementals. We don't actually need to level her up at all.
Do tell.
We just need her to auto-attack.
I thought you'd never ask. Friendship lasts forever.
And basically we've got nothing. But we can... I wonder if it... I'm just going to test. But I don't think it is. But let's see. It doesn't indicate that it isn't. There we go. Let's see if we can send it to sleep.
Let's make this quick.
But the main thing is that these fire blasts take away almost all its health. It's only got 63 HP. So and yes, it's got regeneration, but to remove the regeneration only requires fire. So yeah, it's and I messed up the cast there. So and before we could even cast, just a couple of shots to take it down, and well, we saved one of the elementals. But yes, we can look in its strangely positioned nest. We want all of this except that heavy mace. And you can sort of see, I think this is implied that this cave is where it's been living with the bones and everything around it, or it's been perching on top and living inside. We'll take that diamond dust, yep. And we'll take this amulet of natural armor, gold powder, all good stuff. And let's have a little look at this disc of the Eclipse. So, yeah. Anyway, we can examine it because we are magical. And this is really interesting here because there are these traces of a much stronger aura nearby. It seems that someone very powerful was here before you and did something to the disc. So, we've got no idea who that might be. But I guess we could guess about it. But let's just leave it at that for now. So, Kanerah, I sensed something strange, as if someone was here right before us and did something to the disc. And yes, very strange, because of course they didn't take it, they didn't take the treasure or the artifact. And yes. But we're not going to use the disc right now anyway, are we? We'll just take it to the capital and examine it there. So, go ahead. Pick it up. And yes, something very strange happens. This black and white aura, this is, implication being it's Nethys related, as the disc is. And we hear the words black, white, bound, split, indivisible. Very strange. And something strange has happened. But the disc is gone. Unless she's managed to fit that enormous disc in one pocket, which seems unlikely. Anyway, you are right. And very strange. So, basically, she's absorbed it into herself, and she thinks she knows how to use it. So we're going to see something. Just a second. There we go. So they they swapped, but they seem to swap at will through the use of the disc. I was sleeping in the demi-plane, but this time I wasn't pulled out like usual. It's like I heard a voice, Kanerah's voice. Anyway, we'll pick this one. Tell her that she recovered the disc. And yes, she spends some time thinking, studying, looking inside herself. And then, yes, now I understand. And yeah, they swap. So, Kanerah quite disparagingly talking about how Kaliki managed to learn how to use it so quickly when she thought it was going to take her a year. Anyway, and asked us to tell her she's a foolish goat. And yeah, so they can switch whenever they want, which from a game perspective is incredibly powerful because it basically gives you 2 characters for the price of 1. Like when one gets depleted or injured or anything, just swap them to the other one. So it's like having 7 party members instead of 6. So I think that's one of the main reasons, or one of the many reasons, people like the tiefling twins, apart from the fact that they are kinesticists who can be made stupidly powerful. And we can tell her she's a foolish goat, but I think we're going to pick this chaotic good option. We can also bluff, which is, this is romance related. You can, I probably mentioned it in a previous video, but you can romance them both simultaneously, sort of polyamorous romance. But it's much more fiddly than doing one or the other. And so you need to. There's a really good guide located somewhere. I think on Reddit or something that will tell you exactly how to do it. Because you are required to be more precise in the choices you pick to make sure you don't end up as locked into one or the other. Anyway, we're going to pick this chaotic good option instead. Your sister asked me to tell you that she misses you. I doubt that's exactly what she said. But thank you for trying to cheer me up. And so you can now switch whenever you want to. And yes, there's so many thoughts in my head. It's a miracle that we found such a rare artifact that could help us. Or perhaps Neithis planned this all along. And what should we do with this new gift? Now my sister and I must decide how to divide the time we share. So this is, yeah. It's almost like there's too many coincidences in one. Like somebody visited this before they got here. The fact that it helps the very issue that they have. The fact that they haven't been struck down for spilling the secret. That there is more going on than meets the eye. And yes, they want to ask if they can stay with us, and of course we are going to pick yes there. You'd be most welcome. And that's it for their sort of
I'll share my
recruitment quest. Now that we've got that, what we can do is we can just hit that and we call forth Kanerah, and then you can do it again and back you go. So like I said, it's like having two party members, and we can just have a little look at Kanerah here, although I'm not going to level her up. We can see that she's a fire specialist kineticist, and she's a dark elementalist, which just means that they handle burn differently and gathering power. But I'm not going to say any more before I put my foot in it through not knowing what I'm talking about. Anyway, going to grab this. And there's a little line we can look at here, just with an inscription. An empire once so great, where is your strength? Does the same fate await us? No answer. And we can see that we have not quite grabbed everything, but I believe that is a mace, and the other one is a buckler. So I'm basically going to call this video quits here. this was the extent to what I lost audio on. Now the next video will come up and we'll explore this mine here and head off elsewhere. But for now, I think that covers. Yes, I think that covers the Kanerah and Kaliki sort of recruitment area, and I'll reiterate that my choices for Kaliki were very much designed to make those first slurks and gargoyles, bearably easy, rather than far too difficult for Alice there to help to get through. Anyway, I will see you in the next video, which I recorded prior to this one. But yes, see you there.